Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Brev. Welcome to my video for the ESL Summer Circuit for MLB The Show 20. Esports finally coming to MLB The Show 20. We had them last year in 19. Pretty cool stuff. I wanted to take this opportunity in this video to kind of go over the rules and how I feel about them from a competitive standpoint, how this can be improved moving forward. I did something similar last year. If you want to know like details about what the event is, how to register, all that stuff, I'm sure there's tons of content creators that are jumping all over, posting a video about this today. But for me personally, my competitive standpoint, you guys watch me for comp most of the time. I just want to talk about the rules because some of them are really good, but we're still at the same point we were last year, where there's a ton of money on the line. This is more money than they've ever given for MLB The Show Esports, and the rules are just not in line with competitive play, what's good for competition. It's pretty frustrating for me. I understand ESL is not really communicative with the show community, and I'm sure ESL and SDS kind of just agreed to do this, shook hands, and then parted ways. But the rules for these games are really frustrating for me, especially considering how much money is at stake, especially compared to last year, because the grand prize for last year was $4 grand. Now they've bumped it up to 15 grand for first place, while still not having ideal competitive scenarios, especially in the grand finals. So let's go through this. First off, player eligibility. Players must be 18 or older. I understand this is probably a legal issue, but this really sucks because there's a lot of really good players that are better than me, who are not 18 yet. So competition goes down immediately just because of this rule. If it's legal, I totally understand. If it's not legal, this is a mistake. I think they had one last year that had 16 years or older, and it was fine. That would be much better if they have a choice about it, in my opinion. So competition structure, this is what I want to spend most of my time on. So they seem to be of the opinion that 3-inning games are the move, and if you're trying to get through qualifiers quickly, if you're trying to weed out a large player base, 3-inning games are good. For the qualifier rounds, 3-inning games are good. So we can look at the qualifiers first. One-on-one, day one is Swiss. Top 128 goes on to the next day. This is kind of frustrating as well, although they did up the rounds to 6 instead of 4. But what would happen last year is if you pretty much didn't go 4-0, you wouldn't be in the top 128 for that day, which I guess is fine for qualifiers. But with 6 rounds now, you probably have to go 5-1 to get past this, which is tough, especially in 3-inning games. The reason 3-inning games suck for the competition is just that it's very high variance. I'm sure you guys have played BR and lost to some BS just because it's 3 innings and you don't have time to recover from BS, which is something I'm going to get into when we look at the rosters. I think there's going to be a big issue there as well. And then day 2, again 3 innings, and they seem to be wanting to do 3 innings to like save time, but then day 2 doesn't make any sense to me, because going round of 128 to round of 16, a best of 3 of 3 innings. Why don't we just play a 9-inning game? It doesn't make any sense to me, man. If you're gonna do 9 total innings of stuff, just do a 9-inning game. The reason 9-inning games are so good is because if you have some bad luck, some bad RNG, you can recover from it in the following innings. Whereas like if your guy makes an error in the bottom of the 3rd and you get walked off because of it, you don't even have any time to recover. And you could say that making it a best of 3 helps with the variance, but I don't know. If you're going to do best of 3 innings, why not just do 9 innings? And then finals best of 5 3 innings. Again, I don't understand this format. And this is from round of 8 to the finals, actually. So this day 2 is going to take forever. And I signed up for day 1, and it starts at 7 o'clock my time, which is mountain time, which means it's going to be Saturday at 9 o'clock p.m. when this starts. Day 1, number of rounds 6, and who knows when day 2 will start if it's at the same time. This format could legitimately take 8 hours, so I don't know. They're gonna have to change something, I believe. But again, if you're gonna do a series of 3-inning games, best of 5 3 innings, why not just do best of 3 9 innings. I don't understand. Try not to be too negative, but like I said, with how much money they're giving out for these structures, it doesn't make any sense to me. And then if we move on to grand finals, which is even worse, because this is like after you've qualified, this is the big shebang tournament. So they decided for day 1 of the grand finals to have the exact same structure as the qualifier tournaments up until round of 32, which is best of 3 innings, which is not enough. If you've gone through all these qualifiers, you should have a little more leeway. I just don't understand the structure. And then day 2, round of 16 to round of 4 is a best of 5 3 innings, and the finals is a best of 7 3 innings. Just do best of 3 9 innings. I don't understand this structure. Who wants to play 7 3 inning games? It's not indicative of who's the better player if you play more 3 inning games. It's just more dice rolls, right? So I don't know, pretty frustrating. I feel like they're doing the 3 innings because of this sentence. They want it to be like a battle royale style tournament, but I don't see any way that they're gonna like make you do your draft on tournament day, right? So what's gonna happen is if they're gonna pull a battle royale team, you're gonna be able to redraft relentlessly before the tournament to just get the best team you could possibly want for this. Or you're going to actually have to like make up a battle royale team, which is kind of how they did it last year, where they gave you lineup restrictions and then you would formulate your team around that. And it said somewhere down here that you join and it's how to play. Access the match event page. Click join now. So if they make it like events, you're going to end up formulating your own team with this, and they'll probably have these restrictions. So I don't know why it says about drafting a battle royale team, and then down here it's events. I don't really know how this is going to work. We're going to have to see it the first time, but either way, not the best. And then finals best of 7 3 innings is just miserable. Like, people don't want to watch a best of 7 3 innings. It's too long. People don't want to play a best of 7 3 innings. It's too variant, too high variance. So I don't get it. Anyway. How you qualify, you get top 8 in a qualifier, or you just gain points, which the point structure is here. Pretty straightforward. This is pretty typical of tournaments. But I want to talk about the rosters now. So this is pretty much BR rosters, right? This is the rounds that you get in BR: 2 diamond, 3 gold, 9 silver, 9 bronze, 2 common. So we'll see if it's a BR draft, but if it's formulate your own team, there's going to be definitely a meta that forms, and it depends on how pitcher energy works. If pitcher energy resets from game to game, that's going to be a big deal. And if it carries over from game to game, that may shift it a little bit. But assuming it resets game to game, then your 2 diamond players, pretty much everyone's going to be running 2 diamond starting pitchers. It's just the best move. And then you'll probably put your golds and your silvers in your lineup and fill in your bronze and your commons everywhere else. Let me go down to settings here. You can see it's Hall of Fame, hitting and pitching Hall of Fame. So these games are going to be a slugfest. This is pretty much BR on Hall of Fame, but BR on All-Star is kind of dumb. So given the fact that it's on Hall of Fame and the fact that it's 3 inning games, these games are probably going to be a slugfest. Also, I don't know how I feel about standard umpire balls and strikes. I think most people would agree that perfect would be better there. Again, it just seems like they're not very in touch with the competitive community, which is fine. This is why I'm making this video, in case they ever want to reach out to me or someone in the community like me to kind of talk about how they can make this better. But the reason I think these are going to be slugfest is because the limitation on 2 diamonds and the meta that's probably going to form around picking 2 diamond starting pitchers. Defense is going to take a big hit for most players, right? You're going to fill your lineup with 3 golds and 5 silvers most likely, and people are going to prioritize hitting, because if you have to give up stats, most people prefer hitting, right? So the issue of the game being on Hall of Fame, poor defenders all over the field, and defensive mechanics in game that are already flawed, as in players not locking onto the ball, stuff like that. There's going to be there's going to be a lot of errors. There's going to be a lot of fly balls that aren't caught in the outfield, and given the fact that it's 3-inning games, it all just compounds into something very bad. So like I said, if you make an error in a 3-inning game, it's such a bigger deal than if you make an error in a 9-inning game. People are going to lose important games on errors in this structure, and it's not good for the state of competitive play, in my opinion. So yes, I know you play more than one 3-inning game, but it goes back to my point, why not just play 9 innings? So that's pretty much it. I will talk about the meta a little bit more of these team structures, assuming you can make them yourself. Again, if it's a BR draft, like they said, you're just going to redraft until you get like Kluber and Hal in your rotation or something like that, which is going to cost a lot of stubs. But if pitcher energy does carry over game to game, it's going to be an interesting dynamic, whether you want to throw your best 2 pitchers in your first 2 games because you may play people of lower skill level at the beginning of the Swiss format. Who really knows? And starting pitching depth will be interesting to watch as well if energy does carry over, because in my experience with BR runs, events, stuff like that, you typically need 3 starters, sometimes 4, but if you can get away with having every game go 3 innings and not to extras, 3 starting pitchers is usually enough. So it'll be interesting to see if people take one of their golds and use it as a starter, or if they just suck it up and use a bronze and go to the bullpen early, or do like a bullpen game. Very interested to see how this plays out with pitcher energy. There's some very common golds that people will go after. Things that come to mind right now immediately are like O'Neal Cruz, Joey Gallo, people like that. I feel like most people are going to prioritize their golds at important defensive positions, so like maybe center field, middle infield. And one thing with the meta that I wanted to talk about that I thought about also is that using these bronze and commons for speed may be a good move as well, because I would imagine almost everybody is going to tank the catcher position. I imagine the vast majority of top players are going to be running Silver Kyle Schwarber at catcher, just because he's the best hitting catcher in this format. And Silver Kyle Schwarber is not going to throw anyone out, so kind of as a counter meta development, it may be very easy to steal in some of these games. So we'll see how it plays out. Those are just my initial thoughts on it. I just wanted to go over with you guys. But yeah, not a fan of the format. Ideally, I would have not BR structure, maybe give people a little more diamonds, a little more golds to work with, just because of the defensive issues in the game. I understand the structure and that sacrificing around your team is important to like making a strong competitive environment, but just because the state of defending is so bad, just like with the gameplay in general right now, like I said, this is going to cost some people some games, because you're just not going to have enough speed and defense on the field to compensate for some of the balls that may be caught in Diamond Dynasty, and there's going to be a lot of errors, I think. So that's my initial thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. This turned into kind of a negative video, but it's mostly just because I don't think the structure is ideal at all. What they're doing is very cool. 15 grand first place for an MLB The Show tournament is absolutely insane, and I'm very happy about it. Obviously, they're putting up a ton of money to do this. I just wish they would do it a little more competitive, friendly way. But yeah, a little bit of a bummer. You have to place fourth or higher to get any cash. Kind of a bummer, especially considering like the last day starts at where's it at? The last day starts at round of 16. So if you get first rounded or second rounded day 2, you don't actually win any money, which kind of sucks. But yeah, very cool. Just wish they were a little more in tune with the competitive community. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of this down in the comment section. Drop a like if you're new, subscribe, all that good stuff. I love all you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.